Hello, and a warm welcome to Money Mind. On the show today, a new era for homegrown tech icon Creative Technologies. What do investors need to know? Why Singapore could become the next hub for the Asian art market? Plus, how to construct greener buildings. Could trash be the solution? First, though, the top business headlines you need to know this week. The World Bank is warning that the world is perilously close to recession. It slashed global growth outlook for this year to 1.7% from its earlier projection of 3%. The climate crisis is the biggest long-term global risk. That's according to the World Economic Forum, which also says that the biggest short-term risk is the cost of living crisis. Singapore-based Sun Cable is going into voluntary administration. The company is behind a multi-billion-dollar project to supply solar power from Australia to Singapore. Mainland Chinese buyers are expected to return to Singapore's property market as border restrictions are eased in China. In a report, Huttons Asia says this is due to Singapore's reputation as a safe haven. Singapore-listed companies will be required to disclose the payouts and salaries paid to their directors and chief executive officers. Under the new rules, there'll also be a tenure limit for independent directors. Shares of homegrown tech company Creative Technologies spiked after the sudden death of founder and CEO Sim Wong Hoo. But with no clear succession plan made available to the market, will the rally last? And what does the future hold for one of Singapore's first and best-known tech startups? Sona Remish and Janice Wu report. He's been called a giant of Singapore's tech industry, the original technopreneur. And investor interest in Sim Wong Hoo's creative tech has been piqued since his sudden passing on January the 4th. Shares rose 25% in the immediate aftermath of the news. But some market watchers say investors may be feeding into sentimentality and speculation rather than looking at Creative's balance books.
I think it's a lot of hope and hype, mainly because Sim Wong Hoo has been at the helm. He's been the board chairman, he's been a CEO for very, very long, and the stock has been languishing. So I believe that investors are coming in right now hoping that now that the shares may be up on the block, there could be a new buyer coming in. They'll be injecting new ideas as well as bringing in a new direction for the company.
The company, best known for its pioneering Sound Blaster PC sound card in the 1980s, as well as its MP3 players the decade after, has struggled to find a new superstar product in recent years. It's recorded 3 consecutive years of pre-tax losses, including an $11 million loss in financial year 2022. So investors should do their homework during this transition period.
After this spike, it is trading, at a premium to its book value, and this book value continues to decline if nothing happens. There's no new changes, or there's no injection of new exciting businesses or products coming through.
Investors are now watching out for news of a succession plan. Creative says it's unable to provide any comment while it works on the leadership transition, a process generally made more challenging when a dominant leader of a company suddenly passes on or leaves.
This is the big problem, right? When the tallest tree in the forest falls, then what happens? Everybody else is a shrub compared to that. I think there's a few questions here. One, practically speaking, was there a great management team? I think that's not clear to the market because he was so much the giant in the room that it's hard to know who his lieutenants were, how effective they were, how detailed and how advanced were the succession plans, how hands-on are they. I think it's a good lesson for us to remind ourselves that succession plans need to be in place, and they need to not just be in place, but they need to be seen to be in place so that there is a sense of confidence that if the worst were to happen, people are ready and willing to step in.
The new leadership will have to prove to the market that it has the chops to steer the company back to profitability in an increasingly challenging business environment.
If you look at the most recent annual report, they have been talking about diversification, moving into Internet of Things and into the elder care segment in terms of electronics products, right? They talk about, so they have been already thinking about diversifying. I think they will really, I guess the board will have to look at its strategy again at this point in terms of where the future should be.
I do feel that there is a lot of scope for the management team and the board to step up and say, this is our game plan, this is what we're doing. It may not have been made known to everybody before, but we do have a plan in place.
Even if the future is uncertain for now, market watchers agree that Mr. Sim has left a legacy for other startups to aspire towards.
Creative Technology is really the first tech startup in Singapore, right? So, and I think that's one thing, right? He was really the founder of the first global tech startup that we have.
I think it's really inspiring to see a founder, really, dedicate his life and his energy and his mental, his intelligence into a single company and really seeing through multiple ups and downs in a business and still sticking it out. And I would say that, that's exactly the kind of endurance we want to see. And more entrepreneurs have this type of endurance, not necessarily starting a business just to get rich, but starting a business so that we can build something or create something that matters, for the rest of the world.
Creative's successes and its failures are also a lesson to other Singapore firms hoping to make it big on the world stage.
Even in an early days, Creative Technology was already an international, globally recognized company. And I think that's really one of the key differences as an entrepreneur. We got to think about it in Singapore, because Singapore being a small country, it's really when we aim to go on the global stage, when we invent something, a product or a service for the rest of the world, that we become great companies like what Creative Technology has done for itself.
Coming up, why fine art is becoming big